Oh, princess, how have you been? Your mom asked, cutting into her steak. Good. Jungkook has taken good care of me. You sat, awkwardly speaking with a quiet tone. It's something about this house that always makes you tense and scared. Probably the years of constant continuous abuse. You felt like your heart was going to break open your chest due to how hard it was pounding. Jungkook glanced in your direction before his eyes drifted back to his plate. Thank you, Jungkook, for taking care of my daughter. It meant a lot. Your mother smiled after wiping her mouth with a napkin. You saw a confused expression appear on Jungkook's face. He was wondering why they were speaking in past tense. Jin was sitting on your father's seat. You never realized how much he looked like him. He had all his facial features, just different color hair. No problem, Jungkook responded after a minute of silence. He was only being nice for you, and you know that, which makes him currently 10x more attractive. There was silence at the table except for clinking of forks that hit the plates. This is really good, Mom. You mumble, not a smile, since she didn't deserve it, but you did appreciate her cooking. Jungkook ate his dinner silently, trying to hold back all the things he wanted to unleash on your brothers. You are a very quiet man, Jin chirped suspiciously from the end of the table. I have many reasons, he responded with a cold tone. He has no emotions in his voice when he talks to people he doesn't know that well. Meaning, when did Jin suddenly become brave? You could have used that a long time ago. Drop it. You snapped at Jin viscously, knowing that even the tiniest thing could set Jungkook off. Who do you think you are talking to? Jin's voice deepened. Your heart pounded inside your chest. That's enough, Jin, Yoongi yelled at him. Then Jungkook finally spoke up, scrunching his napkin in his hand after wiping his mouth. What will you do if she continued talking? A placid expression was planted on Jungkook's face as he stared at your brother directly in the eyes. You reached under the table, grabbing Jungkook's hand to settle him. Nothing, Jin replied, rolling his eyes. Yeah, Jungkook scoffed, getting a confused look from all your family members. You think I don't know? Jungkook chuckled evilly at their faces. That you all did nothing and let her get abused for years. Jungkook suddenly burst, anger seeping out of his voice. He stood up suddenly like he was going to jump across the table. You leaned away from him, your eyes widened at him. He did not just do that, but you couldn't be angry at him. You knew bringing him was a bad idea from the start. After all, he is only speaking the truth. You are not men, you are boys. He roared at them, pointing his knife at all of them, including your mother. You're cowards, ducking cowards. Then you watched Jin stand up and challenge Jungkook. Your heart sank to your stomach. You know that Jin is not strong enough by himself to handle Jungkook in a fight. But then all your brothers stood up. Your mother stared in shock at the sight that was about to play out in front of you both. If I take you all on, I will win. Jungkook cracked his knuckles, getting ready to fight. You wish, Hobie growled defensively. I would like to see you try. Jimin snapped aggressively. But before Jungkook could even respond, Jin had thrown a right hook, his fist colliding with Jungkook's jaw. Jungkook was already weak from attacking the ravens, so it would be harder for him to fight. Jungkook jumped at Jin, sending all your brothers into attack mode. Namjoon took your mother outside. Jungkook can't defend himself alone, but they are your brothers, the men you grew up with. Who do you choose? Jungkook repeatedly punched Jin on the ground but then got ripped off of him by your brother Yoongi. You screamed as Yoongi grabbed a glass and broke it over Jungkook's head. Jungkook scrambled to his feet and tackled him into the wall, causing Yoongi to grunt in pain. He fell to the floor as Jungkook tried to go for Jin again but was stopped by Jimin. Jimin had grabbed a knife. Yoongi was currently getting back up to jump on Jungkook again. Jungkook struggled but managed to get the knife out of Jimin's hand without being stabbed and flung it across the floor. That's when you realized he's keeping his promise. Before Jimin could get another opportunity to hurt Jungkook, Jungkook kicked Jimin off of him, sending him flying into Yoongi. They both hit the wall with a thud. Hobie jumped on Jungkook's back, punching Jungkook in the face quite a few times. You shrieked as your chair fell backwards, sending you tumbling to the ground. Jungkook's attention immediately turned towards you. Jin had taken the last bit of strength he had to knock over your chair. Jungkook threw Hobie off him and onto the ground and came running towards you. He scooped you up into his arms, pushing you away from Jin, who had a knife in his hand from the dinner table. Who knew what he was going to do with it? Jungkook hit Jin again. They were both bleeding a lot, and Jungkook's cuts that were healing had responded like the one on his perfectly sculpted cheekbone. Yoongi, Hobie, and Jimin all were ready to fight again, and Jungkook looked like he was getting tired. But you have to say he held them off incredibly well. Yoongi jumped on Jungkook, Hobie, and Jimin not far behind. They all started to hit Jungkook, trying to restrict his arms. Jungkook grabbed Yoongi, pushing him across the table. Tears welled up in your eyes as you panicked. You need to stop this. You are not this weak little girl anymore who let things just happen. Your heart pounded in your chest as you watched them hurt the man you love, the only man you have ever loved. Your decision was made before the fight. Before the fight even started, you wiped the tears from your eyes, clearing your vision. You grabbed the hem of your dress and pulled it up your thigh, revealing your knives that were stabbed to your thigh. You slipped one out and ran towards the cluster of men on the ground. Somehow you had managed to get to Jen. You held the knife against his throat, screaming for the fighting to stop. I'll kill him! I'll fucking kill him! You yelled furiously. Jin's eyes widened at you. Get them off of him, you demanded while you glared at Jin. Disappointment flooded Jin's face. Get off, Jin announced while looking you dead in the eye. All your brothers got off of Jungkook, blood and broken plates everywhere. You will let us leave and you will not contact me again. Your voice became shaky as you said your last sentence. So much for you coming home. Jin spat at you. You glanced over at Jungkook, who had blood dripping from his head and mouth, his suit filtered by everyone's blood. But you knew he had just heard what Jin said due to the confusion on his face. We are leaving. You took the knife from Jin's neck and put Jungkook's arm around your shoulder, helping him up. You could tell he was angry with you. You helped Jungkook out of your house. Your brothers watching you both leave. They shut the door behind you. His breathing was unsteady and he was beyond exhausted, but he still had the energy to be angry at you. You were going to go home? He took his arm off your shoulder, refusing your help. You both stood in front of the car outside. I don't know what I was going to do, you answered honestly. You didn't want to lie to him. We came here so you could leave me after you told me you loved me. Jungkook sounded hurt, very hurt. After I told you I loved you, huh? Tell me. There was a strain in his voice. You can't blame me for wanting to see if my family had changed. You shook your head. But they haven't. Your brothers were raised by your father to act and think just like him, just like me and my father. You just stared at the ground. You didn't know what to say. Your brother is just like him, and for me to think you wanted to go home and not be with me anymore? I have never expressed my feelings, Ryan, but I'll tell you, you hurt me. This time hurt me very badly. He shook his head. You looked down. You can stay here and be with your brothers for all I care. Jungkook got in his car, letting his anger take over his better judgment. You just stared at him with a sad expression. He was angry and rightfully so. He drove off, leaving you alone in front of your old house. You walked around the corner. At least it's not as cold as it was last month. Who you are kidding? This was awful. You couldn't help but let the sob escape your lips as you walked around the corner. Tears streamed down your face. Nothing can ever be easy. You heard him. His words just kept repeating in your mind. You can't believe you was stupid enough to think that had changed. You took your phone out of your pocket and dialed a number. Hey. Hey, can you come get me? Your fragile voice spoke into the phone. Where are you? At my old house. You replied, trying to contain your tears. I'll be there in 5 minutes. You continued to walk around the corner as you waited to be collected. You had your heels in your hands as you walked down the freezing road barefoot since your feet were aching. Your mascara was probably all over your cheeks as you probably looked like a mess. You watched the car appear and stop next to the sidewalk of the mansion where you was. He got out of the car. What happened? Taehyung pulled you into his arms, holding you tight. I hurt him, Taehyung. I hurt everybody. You whimpered, finally releasing all your built-up feelings. You are fine. You are not cut. He checked you to see if you was hurt. No, he made sure I didn't get hurt. You shook your head with tears falling from your cheeks. Come. He helped you into his car. You lay in bed with the blankets up to your neck and the lights off. You asked Taehyung to leave you alone until you feel better. You just stared at the wall feeling numb. This was your second argument with him in like 2 days. What if they keep continuing? What will you do? You can't live without him. Then you heard a knock on the door. I bought pizza. Taehyung came in, opening the pizza box and placing it down on the bed. You bought me pizza even though I'm already staying at your house? You pouted gratefully. Oh no, don't get all emotional again. I can't handle it. Taehyung shook his head jokingly. You smiled slightly before taking a bite of a slice. Have you talked to... We don't mention his name. You scolded, interrupting him. Ryan, you are going to have to make up with him sometime. Then why not now? It's been 2 days. Taehyung urged you to try and talk to Jungkook. You stared at the pizza. He doesn't want to talk. You shook your head, refusing to listen to Taehyung's advice. You are going to talk to him today, whether you like it or not. Now get dressed. Taehyung left, leaving you and the pizza alone. Why should you make any efforts with Jungkook if he's not going to make any efforts with you? He's making it pretty clear that he doesn't want to talk since he hasn't tried to call or text. Was it wrong of you wanting to see if your brothers had changed? You lay back down, pulling the covers over your head. You feel miserable without him. It's weird that at the start you only annoyed him because you was bored, but now you are around him because you are in love with him. You love him. You still love him even after he left you out in the cold to find your own way home. He didn't call to see if you was okay. He just left. That's what Jungkook does when he was hurt. He runs. Guess that why you will have to make the first move and apologize. You still better get an apology off of him though. You struggled to get out of bed but you managed and took a shower. You felt better after the shower. You was ready to see Jungkook after 2 days. That may not seem like a long time, but the most you both have gone without each other since you both met is a few hours. You think starting a journal would be good for you, then that way you could express your feelings about Jungkook without having to worry about anyone telling you you are wrong. Not to mention, you have had to go to school while dealing with your and Jungkook's short term breakup. Hopefully, it's short term. School was pretty shit today because you couldn't concentrate. You kept thinking about Jungkook or food, but Taehyung picked you up and brought you back here. He also got you pizza. You got dressed, putting on a pair of jeans and t-shirt that hugged your torso.